born an athlete, you'll die an athlete. It's in your DNA.
You're an athlete. Live like an athlete so that you can be successful in life.
You're an athlete. Live like it.
ANA, America needs athletes.
No, I'll cut it out. At that clap is when we're going to start.
Perfect. What's up, guys?
So we're starting now.
Well, kind of, because our audio is messed up. So hopefully it pulls up here. It's being nice and slow in this cold ass room.
So let's talk about this.
I love how we're all in, or you guys are like in parkas.
Oh, it's
cold as hell.
I'm always cold.
It's 0 degrees, and I don't think it's much warmer in this room. Like,
no, it is. It has no vents for heating.
Yeah, I don't think this wall is like
and we are like
an inch thick
yeah.
to the outdoors.
Right next to the outdoors.
Yeah. Okay, so have you seen the 7th grader run?
Yeah.
Isn't that insane?
It was crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. What's the big deal?
It's a freaking huge deal.
She's going to be a huge D1 athlete, probably.
I don't know.
And she was competing against...
Racing against girls in college.
Yeah, subpar college athletes.
No, she's a 7th grader.
She's a 7th grader.
South Dakota State. They're at South Dakota State.
They're at South Dakota State, I know. That's what I mean. They're at a lower level collegiate.
Get out of here.
What's her time? A 52? In a 400?
That's what I'd like to know is what her time is, yeah.
It says it at the end.
No, it doesn't. Oh, maybe.
Yes, it does. You can see there's a clock as she finishes, I think. It says it.
56, it looked like.
56 for a 400. That's good.
That's very fast.
But that's
not
great.
I ran a 53. I could beat that 7th grade girl.
You guys are
as
evil.
a freshman, I ran a 51.
Prove it.
I probably could. I ran it in meets.
You ran a 400.
Yes. That's the crazy part, right? No, I competed in 400 was my best race. I was on the 4x4 my freshman year.
No.
Yeah.
How have you never ever talked about this? You always talk about baseball and football.
Yeah. Because I disliked. I told you I did track, and then as I got older, I did track, but I told the coach, who was actually my freshman football coach, God, what was his name? I can't remember his name. But I told him, as I got older, I said, I'm not running meets anymore. I'll practice because I want to get faster for football, but I'm not running meets. And he hated me at that point.
I would too.
Because then I had to quit halfway through the season, because then camps and all this stuff where I was out of town. And so I was basically preparing him for starting
I can't
practice.
see you running the 400.
400. Oh yeah, I was 400 and then 100.
Do it. What do you think your time would be now?
Oh, it would be.
What do you think your time would be?
What do you think my time would be?
It'd probably be a 56.
No, when we had that agility, Zach was you were a new coach.
That was my first.
So we had our first agility championship, and Zach you were on my team. Or no?
I think so, yeah.
All right, now everybody joining on audio on our podcast, you guys missed a lot of cool stuff. So go on to our YouTube, hit subscribe, hit the bell, and then you can check out what you missed. But we're going to start continuing the conversation here. But welcome athletes into the gym closet. If you're joining us for the first time, thank you for joining us. Subscribe, download the podcast, and the Gym Closet podcast has been a couple weeks now.
Yeah.
Right? But we talk about how we optimize life, how to live life like an athlete, because we believe everybody should live life like an athlete and optimize your life, be successful in life, and living like an athlete is how we describe that. In doing that, we want to make sure we're training like athletes in the gym, but also living like athletes outside of the gym. So, back to the conversation.
Back to the convo. So, Zach was, one of our new coaches. So we had the agility championship.
Oh yeah.
And we had to go. We put into the
it
race
was like
because there
was like a 4x1. Yeah, because we had 2 people show up from Waukee. Because this is when we were. Waukee was like 4 months old at this point.
So Zach and I had it.
Me and Amber were on the team because 2 people showed up, and we had a 4x1 race. Right. So you need 4 people.
I was scared shitless because
you hauled ass.
I tried.
People were
freaking scary. I thought Jordan was gonna catch me, so I didn't want him to. But Zach all of a sudden just takes off, and I'm like, holy, because he just had long strides and stuff.
Yeah,
so, and that wasn't too long ago.
I have to know.
I don't know.
Look up a good collegiate female, because I bet good collegiates are 45s.
Jeez.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. So like again,
It's impressive.
It's very impressive.
And I'm not saying it's not impressive.
And I think it's like Tyler said, where like for a 7th grader to be beating even below average college athletes, it's still crazy.
Right.
And like she's gonna go on to be a very good D1
right, but she's gonna
athlete
cut
at some level.
Yeah, she's gonna cut. What's
This says 51.53 for women.
Is what level or what?
Like I said, collegiate 400 women's time.
That's the best time, 51. Okay, so that's not as fast as I thought it was.
Me either, honestly. Yeah. So.
Okay, college best was in 2014. That was 50.3.
Oh. Yeah,
Okay.
it's not as fast as I thought it would be, honestly.
So
yeah.
she's only 6 seconds off of the best.
Yeah, the 24th
But that's
person.
that's a lot of time in a 400. But that's
24th person is 54.45.
Okay.
Ooh.
So okay. So.
Damn.
That does bring up like a very
Props to her,
interesting, I think, conversation too. That like we had a whole. I remember in one of my college classes we had a whole like month-long unit on this, I guess, with like kids and like basically like draft busts and things like that, where it's basically how some kids, and especially now as kids I start to specialize more in certain sports and things like that, like some of these kids are like not hitting their peak necessarily, but a lot of kids are developing super fast,
right,
and get to be like this like stud athlete in high school, and they really don't do a lot more development past like where they're at.
Right.
Like, so I mean, like again, there's a chance that this girl will go on and be like a superstar D1,
49,
and be an Olympian in the future.
Yeah.
But there's also a chance that like she might not improve a lot from this point here. And like again, it's super impressive for a 7th grader to be beating.
Because you think of burnout, you think of like all that stuff, But
so
yeah,
like it's super easy, I think, to think that like, okay, this girl's gonna be like an Olympian,
right? Like gonna run a 45 or something crazy.
Yeah.
But the cool thing though, in track versus other things, is there's probably less burnout running,
right,
than there would be.
You think? I don't know.
Pitching, or you know what I mean, like. And I equate burnout to a lot of things. Both mentally is one thing, but like you're not going to overrun yourself.
Right. Like pitching is a great example where like
there's
you could go out
stud young guys that then just get
never make it because Tommy John, like the big surgery where like you have to like repair your UCL basically, and so there's a lot of guys that like I mean a couple years ago there was a guy that went first overall in the MLB draft. And like I think that season or the next season, he got Tommy John surgery, and he might never make it. Yeah. It's just one of those things where some guys come back from it, some guys don't. Like,
right.
That's
so
crazy,
it's just a crazy.
Crazy.
Thing like that,
I thought that was insane.
Yeah. No, that's impressive. I didn't know. I thought they were faster. I mean, men are at the 45s. Right, but I'm impressed with myself and Zach in high school.
Yeah, I mean, frankly, me too. So we know now.
Look up guys because they've got to be pushing 40.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. Well,
the guys 400.
I know, like Olympians are like 40 seconds flat.
Are they?
Yeah. Which I mean, like in a 400, like I think like if you look at like a 400, it's a sprint. So like 1 second in a 400 is like a massive. Difference, so like if you look at like
43.03
is
for college,
top college time,
world record
record collegiate.
Hold on,
where are you getting this info from?
Google, knocking Google. 40 NCAA Division I championships, 400 meters, 43.61.
Is that who won it?
Olympic Games was 43.50.
Yeah. So I mean, there is a huge. We say that like it's nothing because we were 10 seconds.
10 seconds in a 400.
Think about
that would mean that
10 seconds off of a 400 is 100.
They usually average 44.57, 44.73.
So like if you think about 10 seconds, you think 10 seconds not that long, but in reality, like if my fastest, you took my fastest 400 time against an Olympian, they'd be crossing the finish line as I'm like
300 yards.
rounding
This
the
says-
last. Yeah.
This says, what is a fast 400 meter time for college? So 400 meter, 47.5 to 51 is a good time.
Really?
NAIA is 49.5 to 52.
Damn.
I really thought that these times
I
would be
could have
faster.
I could have
honestly.
ran D3 track.
Could have, yeah.
But I mean, I would say typically most D1 football players that are specialty positions would probably be fast enough to run D3 track.
Oh, yeah. I would agree with
I
that.
would think.
I would think so. Yeah.
That, I mean, I got to give myself some credit playing D1 football compared to a NAIA D3 track.
No, I would
It's
agree
probably
with that. I would
very
think.
similar.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. The biggest
I know,
thing
like,
that
our
we know
running
is
backs-
that
our running
in
backs competed at the collegiate level, D1 competed collegiate level, and like did really well,
yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
and so they would dominate everybody else.
The biggest thing to take away is that me and Tyler in our primes would have beat a 7th grade girl.
Mm-hmm.
Is
by a very
by a
small
slim margin, but still.
And the fact that we are talking about competing against that 7th grade girl is why she's so
crazy.
cool. Yeah, so good way to start.
Yeah.
So today we have an awesome guest. Amber, you want to talk about her for a little bit, and actually let's introduce her, and then we will go into that interview. We did a virtual interview with her, and she represents ARL, and so our power partner this season. If you're just joining us for the first time, every season we have a new power partner. We love to bring them on to talk about their organization or their charity or whatever they do. So we work with a different company, organization every single season in order to help our community and make our community better. So Amber, if you want to do the intro with her, and then we'll go right into that.
Yes. So we have an interview with KC. I'm bad at last names.
Sorry, Casey, when we butcher
Yeah,
this.
sorry, Casey. I'm sure
Routos?
she said it. Routos.
Routos?
That's what I was going to say. Routos. But she will say it on the interview. But appreciate Casey for jumping on and filling us in on everything that we wanted to know about the ARL. And so let's jump into that interview right now. I don't know if you know a lot about Krave, but we always have a power partner every season. And I think this has been,
Are you recording?
yes, 5 years maybe since we've worked with the ARL, 4 or 5 years. And our athletes always have a fun time at your guys' location. And it's, I think every time we have been there, somebody's adopted an animal, but I don't think it happens.
Awesome.
So
Except for this year.
we always tell them there's no pressure. You don't have to adopt an animal when you go, but you do got to go help out. So it's been really fun. So thanks for having us. So why don't we just start with you introducing yourself and tell us, kind of your background, what you got you started with the ARL, and how long you've been with them, and that's that.
Yeah, so my name is KC Routos. I'm the event manager here at the Animal Rescue League of Iowa. I have been here for 3 years now, and it has been a tremendous experience. It was my first kind of go around with animal welfare, and I am just so honored to be part of a great organization who has done so much and is going to do even more for the pets in our care. So I'm originally from Seattle. I came out here to go to school, and by chance I happened to find an event position open here and hit the ground running ever since. So
Awesome. That's great. So how long have you been with them?
3 years.
3 years. Okay. Really cool. And so do you miss Seattle at all? Is family back there? And
Yep, my entire family, but thank goodness for FaceTime, and I usually go back a couple times a year, but I love Iowa, and Des Moines truly is such a great city. So I'm not sure I'll ever go back.
yeah,
But
that's awesome. And you found a career you love. So that's even better, right?
absolutely.
Yes. Good. Well, I love that. So what has been, since you took this position and everything, what has been your favorite part about working with the ARL?
I love a lot of aspects. So that's a tough question. But I also get the joy of fostering, and which allows me to really be hands-on with the animals a little bit more than what I do in my day-to-day. So a lot of my stuff is done at computer, planning, relationship building, but being able to foster and kind of get that animal experience has been great. And just seeing the way that they blossom into, naturally shelter environment can be a little bit stressful for pets.
Mm-hmm.
So when they're pulled into foster and seeing them blossom into this like cuddly, not always cuddly, but, really blossom into their personality, it's very rewarding.
Yeah.
So that's one of my favorite aspects. And we see that in shelter too. Our behavior team sees pets really open up and coming out of their shell, which is truly great.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so do a majority of people that work there, you think, foster or not?
A good portion do. Yeah.
I've never thought about that until you brought it up. I'm like, I bet it would be fun to be able to foster and be a part of that.
It is. It absolutely is. And a lot of us are foster fails multiple times.
Yes.
So.
Is it hard for you to give the animals up when you are fostering them? Like, do you build that connection with them where you want to keep them, or?
I think there are ones every once in a while that you just really have that connection with.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, sometimes you're like, wow, we learn about their personalities and we learn about what kind of home would really make them thrive, and seeing them go into that home is very exciting for us.
Yep. I bet that helps a lot. So you know exactly where they're going. Oh, I love it. So what does a typical day today look like for you in the position you have there?
Yeah. So in our position, we do a lot of partnerships. So we're working with different companies or individuals around the Des Moines Metro. So we're doing a lot of going back and forth, relationship planning events, creating new events or doing established ones. So a lot of relationship building, and then just a lot of behind the scenes planning, working with our different departments on how we can promote our mission and promote the programs that we have as well.
Awesome. Love it. Love it. Love it. Okay. So we saw that you guys have a raise the paw auction, something coming up. Can you tell us about that a little bit more?
Yeah, so the Raise Your Paw auction is our biggest event of the year. It's on April 23rd at the Iowa Event Center, the Community Choice Credit Union down there. So it's a really great event, and it brings together nearly 1,000 animal lovers for a silent auction, a live auction, and we're celebrating 30 years of the event this year. So we're adding a lot of fun elements.
Awesome. Have you guys been able to have it in person the last couple of years, or has it been online or?
So last year we did it in person, but we scaled down the attendance just to be able to create a little bit more space. And then we had it virtually the year before that.
Okay. How was it virtually versus in person?
Our virtual events actually were kind of comparable. When we take out the ticket sales, some of our events were very comparable as far as like the auction part and a lot of the other parts. So our reach was actually a little bit bigger than normal for these events because we were able to do it virtually. And we were able to reach the people that maybe aren't in-person event people naturally anyway. So it was really great. We did not see a huge downfall as far as that goes outside of just the original ticket sales.
And is that your guys' biggest like fundraising event or event that you host, or what is one of your biggest events that you guys host throughout the year?
That is our biggest event of the year.
And so people go in and adopt animals, or how does that work, I guess?
So not at the Raise Your Paw auction. We usually will typically have our TheraPets teams and bring them in. So they'll collect donations throughout the event. They have little vests, and then we have a TheraPigeon and TheraDucks that typically come as well. So they're kind of fun to interact with. But then this year we're doing a kitten cuddle lounge. So we may have some kittens available for adoption at the event this year. Really it's going to be awesome.
So I take my daughter to the Cats and Coffee location where and I think that's a partnership with you guys, right? They get cats from the ARL.
Yep, they house cats for us, and they
fun.
Just hit 600 adoptions, and I think they've been open for under 2 years. So that concept has been phenomenal for the pets in our care, and they have been super great to work with, and we love working with Mary and all of her staff over there.
Yeah, they're awesome. Every time we go in, it's so fun, and it's such a cool concept. So for those of you that don't know a lot about it, I know every time I post when I'm there with her, everybody goes, "Where is that? I want to go." So it's just this little coffee shop, and they have a separate room where you go in and you can snuggle the cats or play with the cats for you can buy like 15-minute time slots. And you just sip your coffee and play with them and walk around, and a lot of them are playful. And then you have the ones that just don't want to play, and it's really cool. So, but I think every time we've been there, the first time we went, 2 cats were going to adopt, and then the second time, I think they were working on paperwork for another one. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
Love that. Love to hear that.
yes. Okay. So I think the last question I have for you is, so how can people get out and volunteer or help? What do you guys seem to need the most help with at this time?
Yeah, absolutely. So volunteering is always a need of ours. We could not do what we do without the wonderful volunteers that we have. So volunteering, we typically will do an orientation for people. So you just sign up, you learn more about the ARL, and you learn about some of the positions that we have available for volunteer opportunities. And then what we do is we try to match you up based on what you're looking for. So we want to make sure it's a good fit for everybody and that everyone's kind of getting what they're hoping for out of it. So our opportunities can range from laundry to dishes. Those are our biggest needs typically, just because for disease control purposes, we really try to keep everything as clean as possible. But we also have dog walking and events to volunteer for in our animal house store. So we have a ton of different opportunities for young kids from 10 and up to, people who are retired. So you can also volunteer by fostering or being part of our transport team.
Okay, great. And I know we organize the volunteer opportunities here, but they can just go to the website, the ARL. And I believe it's really easy to find. You guys have it laid out really good on your website where you volunteer, then you fill out a form. And I think someone will probably be contacting that individual. Is that how it works?
Yep. So you can go online and learn more. It's arl-iowa.org/volunteer. It'll kind of do a brief walkthrough, and then it has contact information if you have any specific questions. But then you can just sign up for an orientation right then and there.
Awesome. Well, that is all I have for you. Like I said, just a quick little interview. We don't want to take a lot of your time. I appreciate you filling in today. And thank you for our partnership over the years. And we can't wait to continue working with you guys.
Yeah. And thank you guys for being such a big part of our organization and helping. You guys are always a stellar group. So we appreciate it.
Just because it's not our season, if you guys ever need any volunteers or anything, we're happy to put it out to our athletes and see if anybody's available. So just keep us in mind for the future for sure. So.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
And we were back. The magic of edit podcasting. So yeah, we were back. That was an awesome interview.
Did you guys ever foster dogs, by the way?
That's really tough. Yeah.
Or any animal? I just don't even think I could do it.
I don't know. That's really hard I think it's such a cool thing to do, but then to have to give them up after
our audio on this thing may or may not be sucking. All right, we'll keep going if I have to pull audio from the
and like she said, it's good to know that they're going to a good family.
Oh yeah,
I think that would help a lot.
Yeah,
but
it'd be hard though. I definitely
very hard. I think.
Yeah. Same conversation with fostering kids. I think if you
okay, whole nother level.
Well, yeah, but I think if you fall in love with a kid or a pet or anyone, it'd be hard to give up.
Yeah.
I don't think I would be cut out for fostering at all.
Nope.
Either way. I could go to the ARL and love on some pups and.
But if you go to, or if you like cats, you should totally go to Coffee and Cats. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, that's an ARL event. Talk about that. Have we talked about that on the podcast?
Yeah, I talked about it on the podcast. Or I talked about it on the interview. A little bit. But yeah, you just go in and get a coffee, and then you can walk around. And Ivy loves it. I'm not a cat lover by any means, but they're really
it evens out.
The cats are really cute, and you can every time Ivy's like, I think this one really likes me. I'm like, me too, honey, but it's staying here. Although I was very tempted to take Princess home with us last summer there.
We ain't about that life. We have
Princess.
3
How cute
kids
of a name.
under 5.
We already like the cat, and then the lady's like, "Oh, that's Princess." I'm like,
and then 2 dogs.
I don't know that Knox would love a cat.
Yeah.
And let's
know.
not add to that circus.
I feel like our life's.
I don't think Max would like a cat either. To be honest.
Did you say you think our life's calming down a little bit? You are insane.
I feel like
That's
the
good that you
chaos.
figure that.
No, I'm totally kidding.
Okay, that's good that you feel that way, I suppose.
I think I thrive off of chaos, chaotic environments.
You do
It's just
kind
like my thing that I like.
Pressure.
Oh, I love it.
I saw this meme today that was talking about the pressure, that song from Encanto.
Under pressure.
No,
Dun, dun,
not that
dun,
one.
dun, dun.
No, that's Queen. In Encanto, where it's like tick 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 Shit, no, I can't think of it.
I don't know.
The pressure keeps the buff lady.
No, I don't watch the shows. They're on in the background, and I don't.
You never watched Encanto? Anyway, for anyone out there that
literally, I
has
cannot watch
head,
a movie.
It was looping in my head all morning, and right now I can't think of it. But it's the pressure song that I saw a meme was.
It's
awesome.
not like the most popular Encanto song out there.
Probably the second.
Oh. Okay. Have you ever watched Encanto?
No, it's been on in the background while I'm sleeping.
Do you like movies?
Not really, no. Honestly, I'm not a huge movie fan.
I don't know. I don't like movies.
It depends. I mean, like, there's some movies that I'll sit down and watch, but like, most movies I will not sit down and watch like a second or third time. Like, I'll usually watch like a movie one time and then I'm done. And with like some rare exceptions.
That's what I run into with kids' movies. Is I watch every scene 97 times in weird orders. Yeah. So then I have to sit down and I have to watch the entire thing one time.
That makes sense.
Right? I don't know. Like, you just get so like you get so hooked on movies. Like, I'll be like, okay, get the kid shoes on, and you guys will still be sitting there. I'm like, get the kid shoes on.
Yeah, me and Pierce are watching a movie.
I know. I'm like,
we need to put our shoes on. The movie's on.
Let's go. We got places to be.
All right. So, what do we want to get into first? Structure.
Sure.
I want to start because I'm gonna have to leave quick.
Oh, nice. Let's do it.
So I'll start, and then you're gonna have to go too. So.
Oh gosh, you might be here by yourself.
That's all right. I'm gonna just.
That's fine. We'll talk structure.
I'll get right into the camera. All right, go ahead.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yes, you do. Don't ever say
Mythbusters.
Mythbusters. Do you have to earn your food? I think what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. I think that was the idea.
I think that's what we decided. I was prepared today. We were all prepared. So there's this. I don't know if it's a. We're going to talk about how to frame it. It's not necessarily a myth, but it's like this belief. I think that some people a mindset. Yeah, that some people have where. It gets really popular like with the holidays, I've noticed too, and I've even like overheard some of our athletes even saying it, where they're like, "Oh, I
ate too many cookies.
I ate too many cookies. I have to go work out or go for a run because I ate too many cookies, or I ate a big meal, so I have to go burn those calories off or something like that." And unfortunately, I think some people it even gets to that point just in day-to-day life where they look and they say, "Oh my God, this cookie I looked and it was 200 calories." Now I have to go work out and look at my watch and burn 200 calories so that way I don't gain weight from this cookie that I just ate, right? The thing that a lot of people I think don't realize is that most of the calories that you burn in a day is just to function, so like me, and I'm a bigger guy, so like my basal metabolic rate, the amount of calories that I need just to function is going to be higher than average, but me, I might burn, 2,500 calories in a day just to sit and exist, basically. Like if I just like sat there and didn't move and I just existed all day long, I'd burn a lot of calories just to live. Even a smaller person, with a little bit of a slower metabolism, maybe they're still burning, 12, 13, 1,400 calories just to exist, basically. And that's not even, considering when you walk around or when you do anything, like you use calories for that too. So I think people have this mindset of the only time that I burn calories are when I go in and work out. And if I look at my Apple Watch and it says that I burned 500 calories, then that means I burned 500 calories for my whole day. That's just a small fraction of your calorie burn for that day. So, I mean, there's a cool image out there that I need to find and we should post maybe. Mm-hmm. But it's like a pyramid of, your basal metabolic rate, your resting metabolism is the base of the pyramid, where it's, a majority, in a lot of cases, like 2/3 of your calories that you burn in a day are basically just to get your body to function. And then there's, the next step up is your NEAT. It's your non-exercise activity thermogenesis, what that stands for. And that's, if you work an active job, like say you work construction or something like that, you're not working out necessarily, but you're burning calories because you're moving around. Mm-hmm. If you're chasing your kids around, if you're taking the dog for a walk, if you're doing literally anything, walking to the bathroom and back.
All the way to, like, if you're watching on video, Zach explaining with his hands.
Yes, like I'm burning calories right here by talking with my hands, like I always do. That's why my metabolism's so high, because I do this all the time. So
everybody at work's gonna be like,
they're gonna be moving their hands when they talk. That's what you should do. I'm very jittery, so like there's this pyramid, and if you look at it, your your calories that you burn from working out is towards the top of that pyramid, so obviously it's good. And, burning extra calories for a lot of people is a very, very beneficial and helpful thing. But to kind of loop it back around to this idea of having to earn your calories and earn the food that you eat, that gets to cross into this like super, super unhealthy mindset
And relationship with food.
And it's a very bad relationship with food. Yeah. And it's something that I remember when I was in school, we had to talk about it a lot, and we, went through a whole, talk about eating disorders and, unfortunately how prevalent those are, especially in people that work out a lot. It gets to be, kind of a dangerous area to be getting into.
And
so
what I love about our macros is that it's based off of the week, right? So you could have one really bad day. Well, then just even your week out.
Right.
So, and this might be more advanced in we go in depth in this a lot more in some of our nutrition clients who have been with us for a while, but say one day your carbs are just like 300 grams over. Well, then throughout that week, maybe lower your carbs under what you're set at. So that way you can kind of balance that whole week out rather than looking at it like one day I was so bad. Cause we know there's going to be birthday parties. There's going to be anniversaries. There's all these things, right? And we want you to enjoy those things and not have them be a burden around food and stuff. So I mean, that's one tip that I give to people is like one day does not mess up a lot. Like just do good. It's that 80-20 rule. So 80% of the time doing good, 20% of the time, developing that healthy relationship with food and knowing that it is okay.
I think that's the biggest thing. Just a couple things to add to the conversation. I think the key is a healthy relationship to food, right? So having it's almost a disordered, like we talked about, disordered way of thinking about it. If you think that everything you eat is demonized food that you have to then go around and burn or earn. And I had a client that was prepping, and they were getting really close to the end. So it was one of those things where it was tough to stay on point, right? Their nutrition is very low.
And they just have an extreme goal, right?
They have an extreme goal, right? Yeah. So they're getting super lean to an unhealthy point in order to compete and do well. And it's a very short-term thing, right? So this person, though, they had such a convoluted way of thinking about food that they actually would cheat on purpose, have a cookie or whatever, and feel like they immediately had to go burn the exact number of calories so that they stayed on point in order to achieve their goal. And so they would, eat a cookie, go for a run for 200 calories, right? Or however many calories, right? And so that's where you risk this myth, and this way of thinking that you can get into a very bad space if you continue to kind of go down that route. And so I think knowing that you have your basal metabolic rate, you have your NEAT, and the workout is great, but the workout is such a small percentage of calorie burn. It's also another reason why just relying on calorie burn to tell you if it's a good workout or not doesn't make sense.
Right. That's a whole nother
that might be a different myth, but
maybe next week.
But yeah, so that's kind of the to wrap up our myth buster of don't have to earn your food. We would rather you just make an adjustment on your nutrition in a different way. If not, even just get back to your typical day, especially if you're working with one of our nutrition coaches. All you have to do is get back to your macros, and your average on the week is going to be okay. Yep. You know what I mean? So
we better get to the craving real fast because then I gotta jump.
Go.
So the craving this week yesterday was 2/22/22. So Tuesday, I don't know. Tuesday, whatever they call it, Tuesday. Okay. So I also noticed it was maybe someone had mentioned Taco Tuesday and then it's National Margarita Day or something. I don't really know. But this got us thinking about the craving and being, where is your favorite margarita? So what spot in Des Moines has your favorite margarita? And then it also got us talking about volleyball. So we're going to do another sand volleyball league. Krave Gym, we're hoping to get like 3 or 4 teams together. So if you guys are listening to this podcast and want to be a part of our Krave Gym sand volleyball, yes, it's in Waukee, right across the street from our Waukee location, pretty much. So it's on Wednesdays. Did we play Wednesdays?
I think so. I can't.
And then we'd always go to El Monterey and get their blue margaritas, which were strong as heck. Like one of those will.
Yes.
I talked to Tony last week and we're like, okay, we're gonna just maybe do one small one a week. We'll see. But they have
Or 3 big ones. Whatever,
pretty
however
good.
we're feeling.
So vote on that, please. Let us know where you go for
All
your
right.
margs. All right,
Are you
structure.
ditching me?
I'm
All right.
ditching you.
All right, so Amber's
Okay.
ditching me, so then I get
Sorry,
to
good
hear
luck.
my own
Good
voice and not talk to anybody but you, the lovely listeners that we are so thankful for. But I'm going to finish up. I won't take too long. What we wanted to talk about today as our word of the week is structure. And so structure, to me, it's something that I have to really stay on top of myself about. And I love the definitions that we found. And the noun definition is the arrangement of and relations between the parts of elements of something complex. And so if we take that into our lives, like our lives are often super complex with a ton of different stuff. And like Amber and I were talking about, oh, we think our lives are less chaotic. Well, that's definitely not the case. And when we talk about how chaotic our life is, without the structure in place in our lives, whether it be at home with the family or in the gym with our businesses and the structure of our coaches and our head coaches and all of the systems we put into place, our lives wouldn't work. We would not be successful at all the way down to, just a simple schedule or a calendar. If you don't have that set up, it's a lot harder to see what you need to do on a daily basis. So that's kind of the noun side of things. And the verb, the action part of it is construct or arrange according to a plan and give a pattern or organization to. So I think that this pertains to living like an athlete in a couple different ways. I think the structure of your life and staying organized with a calendar, with those different things, is a big part of it. But if you think of a big complex thing, it kind of goes back to bring it full circle to some of our other words of the week. It comes down to goals again. And when you're setting these goals, you have to take it step by step, and creating that structure and mini goals in between is going to ultimately help you to achieve the big complex structure or the big complex goal by structuring it in a way that you can see those mini wins and you can get wins along the way and accomplish different things as you're moving forward and as you're taking on this super thing. And it also kind of goes back to staying present, like I talked about last week. The biggest thing with me with staying present was I had all of these things and I hadn't structured them out yet. I had all these things kind of going down, and anytime that my mind gets fuzzy, or I have a big project, or we're making moves in business, or we're trying to grow business, or whatever the case might be, my mind gets foggy, and that's when I have trouble staying present. And so what I always find helps me is structure and being able to arrange those thoughts and arrange the things that I need to do in a way that is organized, is written down more importantly than anything, and being able to then work through those structures. So we're talking about if we're talking about expanding a business or a goal, right? We have a goal to expand to another location, and in doing that, we have several things that we would have to do in a checklist. So if I just think about the big goal, all of that just clutters my mind, because then I have a cycle of 1,000 things running through my head that we would have to accomplish in order to get that done. If I then write it down and structure my thought process and structure, really pinpoint every single step along the way, that structure is going to help us accomplish that goal. So that's one of the biggest things that that we're looking here this year, and that's kind of what made me think of all of this kind of stuff. And then also what caused me not to be present for a while as we talked about last week. So this week, what I want you guys to do, especially if you're going through that, if you're making a goal, if we're in February now, so if you had a big goal for your New Year's resolution, and maybe you stalled or stopped it, it's not too late to then pick that back up. But maybe you stopped it, maybe you stalled it because you didn't have the structure put in place to allow you to have that step-by-step success to achieve that bigger, more complex goal. So this week, think about some of those things in your past. Think about in the future that some things that you want to accomplish, things that you want to do, and whether it's work, whether it is something in same thing. I mean, if we're just talking about in the gym and you want to succeed, you want to bench an additional, you want to add 50 pounds to your bench. That's an awesome goal. We're getting into strength season next season, so we'll talk about that here next week coming up. But that's a great goal, and now we have to structure ways to get to that goal. So we have to hit a certain amount of volume on bench or the same muscle group as bench would be taking, right? So we need to make sure that we're lifting enough every single week in order to hit a volume that's going to give you enough external. Now I'm getting blank, and I don't have anyone here to give me any of my Tylerism. But you need to get that volume up so you can gain muscle, basically, bottom line. You also need to structure your food. You need to be eating enough so you have enough protein, you have enough material in your body to do that. So there's different structures to do that. And this is what we help our athletes for the personal programming. Like if you have a goal like this, we can sit down and we can structure your entire program to go with the team sessions that will actually get you to a specific goal. If you have a goal above and beyond just being more athletic and looking better and all of those type of things that you get from your general team training sessions. But if you have a specific goal, talk to your coaches and we can structure that plan out for you. Again, structure is the important thing. You can do it on your own, but in the fitness world, in our program, it's going to take a lot to structure that. We already have that knowledge. We already have the things that you need to do in order to be successful in those goals. So talk to us as our coaches. But our action plan for the rest of the week is to structure out those goals, structure out something. If you have a big project, having that structure in place is huge for us. So remember, the word of the week is structure, and that is all for us. One by one, we trickled out of the gym closet until I was just rambling for you guys by myself. But again, thank you for the interview. Awesome interview. I'm glad we learned a lot more about the ARL and what we got going on with them this year. And we will talk next week about our upcoming season and our upcoming PowerPartner as we go. But until then, remember, you're an athlete. Live like it.
You're born an athlete, you'll die an athlete. It's in your DNA.
Live like an athlete so that you can be successful in life.
You're an athlete. Live like it.
ANA, America needs athletes.